Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 20, verse number 20. Megha Agamutsavarishtha Pratyanandan Chikandina Griheshu Tapta Nirvina Yathachuta Janagame Meghagamo Utsavarishta Pratyanandana Chikandina Griheshu Tapta Nirvina Yathachuta Janagame Meghagamo Utsavarishta Pratyanandan Chikandina Griheshu Tapta Nirvina Yathachuta Janagame. Megagamutsavarishtha Pratyanandan Chikandina Griheshu Tapta Nirvina Yathachuta Janagame Megagamutsavarishtha Pratyanandan Chikandina Griheshu Tapta Nirvina Yathachuta Janagame. Matajis. Meghagamutsavarishta Pratyanandan Chikandina Griheshu Tapta Nirvina Yathachuta Janagame. Word-to-word meanings. Megha, of clouds. Agama, because of the arrival. Utsavaha, who celebrate a festival. Rishta, becoming joyful. Pratyanandana, they cried out in greeting. Chikhandinaha, the peacocks. Griheshu, within their homes. Tapta, those who are distressed. Nirvina, and then become happy. Yatha, just as. Achyuta, of the infallible personality of Godhead. Jana, of the devotees. Agame, upon the arrival. Translation. The peacocks became festive and cried out a joyful greeting when they saw the clouds arrive. Just as people distressed in household life feel pleasure when the pure devotees of the infallible Supreme Lord visits them. Purport. After the dry summer season, the peacocks become jubilant with the arrival of the first thundering rain clouds, and thus they dance in great happiness. Srila Prabhupada comments, We have practical experience that many of our students were dry and morose previous to their coming to Krishna consciousness. But having come in contact with devotees, they are now dancing like jubilant peacocks. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavancha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahegana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahegana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitancha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Vishesha Shunyavad Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvashe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So first of all I would like to seek blessings, beg blessings from all the devotees, His Grace Anand Krishna Goswami Maharaj Ji, His Grace Brajhari Prabhuji and all the devotees. Kindly bless me so that I can share my understanding on this verse and some experiences based on my in last 1 month which I had. So based on that I would like to speak on this verse. So please bless me so that I can share my understanding with you all. The peacocks become festive and cried out a joyful greeting when they saw the clouds arrive. Just as people distressed in household life feel pleasure when the pure devotees of the infallible Supreme Lord visits them. Here in this verse, Shukdev Goswami talks about peacocks. In morning, His Grace Ramru Prabhu was telling me why peacocks are so dear to Krishna. Peacocks are dear to Krishna because on the feathers, the beautiful eyes on the feathers of peacock, they reminds Krishna of the gopis. So that is the reason why Krishna likes peacocks. And today's class will be based on the theme that how a sadhaka feels pleasure when pure devotees come in their life. So we'll discuss our today's class in 3 aspects. In the first part we will discuss about the philosophy on how the coming of the pure devotees in our life is so auspicious. Second part we will discuss about various examples discussing how the changes come when a pure devotee comes in our life. And third thing we will discuss in our class that why sometimes even after getting association of such devotees we don't feel happy and what is the solution for that. So for this I remembered one pastime from Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto where Vasudev ji was very morose because the dynasty, Yadu dynasty was about to get ruined, and Narad Muni comes and visits Narad Muni, the pure devotee, comes and visits Vasudev. And Vasudev ji says a very beautiful thing while welcoming Narad Muni. He says that Bhavad Bir Vishwa Bhayat Vishwato Bhayat Muchyema hi Anjasa Vidha. It means that this material world is full of fear. Bhayat. It is full of fear. But there is this process of devotional service which is given by the pure devotees is Anjasa Vida. Anjasa Vida. These are two words. Anjasa means easily and with Avida means direct. The process of devotional service which is given by the pure devotees is Anjasa Vida. It is easy and direct. There is no other process like this. Why it is easy? Because it is coming from the bona fide devotees. These bona fide devotees are representatives of Krishna. And why it is direct? Because simply by serving the pure devotees, we are able to serve the Supreme Lord. The pure devotees, they are on the similar platform or similar spiritual platform as that of Krishna. They are not Krishna, but they are very, very dear to Krishna. The pure devotees live in the heart of Krishna, and in the heart of Krishna lives the pure devotees. And when we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, when we hear Bhagavad Gita from such devotees, the impact which comes is very fast. It is very fast. So that is why one must respect such devotees, such spiritual masters very carefully. And he should offer all the respects that he should have been giving to Lord Krishna. So when such a devotee comes in the life of a sadhaka, the life of a sadhaka becomes very blissful. Now we will discuss about various examples how the life becomes blissful. I remember when I was reading this, how a mother talks about their child. Supposedly you go to somebody's house and there is a mother of a young child or a grandmother of a young child. Whenever you go and talk to her, she will talk about so many pastimes of the child. She would be very happy, blissful, and in great ecstasy she would talk about the child. What he is doing, how he is naughty, how he is doing every activity. Why she is able to talk so nicely, so ecstatically? Because she has experienced those things personally. Because she has personally served the child. It is not that because you are coming to her house, she goes and makes some notes that, okay, I will talk about this pastime, I will talk about this pastime of my child. No. Spontaneously everything comes. Why? Because she is serving the child, she is contemplating about the child, she has experience about the child. Similarly, the pure devotees of the Lord, they are representatives of Krishna, and they have first-hand experience of the pastimes of Krishna. And when they talk about the pastimes of Krishna, they are talking about what they are experiencing, what they are realizing. That is why to hear from such devotees, it changes our heart completely. If we hear from the second person, third person, fourth person about the naughty pastimes of a child, then we may or may not feel that happiness. But when the mother talks, it is completely a different experience. That is why we should try that we should hear from pure devotees. So much focus is given on hearing the lectures of Srila Prabhupada. And then we have different examples like Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said that if there are 5 things which are most important in devotional service. He said that Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtan Bhagavata Shravan Mathura Vasa Shri Murtira Shraddhaya Sevan. He said that Sadhu Sang, Nama Sankirtan, Bhagavat Shravan, Mathura Vas, and Deity Worship. These are the 5 most important principles of devotional service. And we see that how the Sadhu Sangha is the base for all the 4. Imagine if you have to chant all alone. During the time of quarantine, when we were all locked in our rooms, we were chanting all alone. Sometimes we were sleeping while chanting, sometimes we were too casual while chanting. There's nobody to correct. There's nobody to give enthusiasm. Even if we think that we can chant for a very long time, but after some time we will not be able to. So many devotees who went for Nirjan Bhajan could not continue without Sadhu Sang. They left. Why? Because Sadhu Sang is required for Nam Sankirtan. Then Bhagavat Shravan, hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, we require devotees. It is not that we can just go through the book and get all the knowledge. We hear how all the sages headed by Shaunak Rishi, they came and requested Sud Goswami to teach them that how the humans can become happy. I mean, they had all the knowledge with them. There were 88,000 rishis. I mean, if they could have studied all the scriptures together. Yeah, even if studying of scriptures is so difficult, they could have divided it into sections, that this group will study this group will study this group will study this, and by dividing all the scriptures, they could have find out in the scriptures what thing can make a human life successful. But no, they went to Sud Goswami to ask that what is the right thing to do. Sud janasi bhadram te. You know what is the essence of all the scriptures. Vyathyam tam saumya tat sarvam tattvatas tat chanat bruhesh nigdasya shishyasya guru guhyam apyuta. Because you have served the spiritual master. That is why all the essence of the Vedic scriptures has come to you. And only you can tell us what is the right thing we should be doing. They went to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from a pure devotee of the Lord. Then, most of us, we come to devotional service when some devotee has preached us. Somebody may say that I came to devotional service by reading the books. But in the books also we got inspired from the purports given by Srila Prabhupada. Very few would have got inspired by reading the shlokas and come into devotional service. But by reading the purports, the transcendental purports of Srila Prabhupada, people became inspired, motivated. Because a pure devotee has written about pure devotional service, it revived our Krishna consciousness in our hearts. And then we talk about Mathura Vas, going to the pilgrimages, Vrindavan, Jagannath Puri. Going to Vrindavan, Jagannath Puri without a devotee association is totally a different experience. We may go to Vrindavan, we may go to Jagannath Puri, we may see some markets, we may see some pandas asking for some money, we may see some murtis, we may eat outside, we may have some lassi, and we come back without hearing, then it will not give us much benefit. But when we go to Vrindavan, when we go to Jagannath Puri and hear about the Supreme Lord from the devotees of the Supreme Lord, that gives the actual benefit. Then when we see Vrindavan, Mayapur, Jagannath Puri through the explanations which are given by the pure devotees, then we see the right thing. We have the right vision. Otherwise, we would all be bewildered by seeing the external things. We may be seeing all the bazaars and traffic and everything, but a pure devotee standing there in that bazaar, in the traffic, is relishing that I am in Vrindavan. So to hear from such pure devotees is so important. Then we talk about deity worship. Imagine you have very beautiful deities with you and you have to worship them all alone. All alone you have to dress them, make bhoga for them, do all the aartis, everything every day. How long we would be able to continue? How long we would be able to continue? We need devotees, because in the association of devotees, it is so blissful to serve the deities. We get the right mood to serve the deities because the devotees are there. That is why pure devotees are so important in our life. For Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, we can see that Lord Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Whatever Krishna spoke was carefully written by Vyasadeva, and it was carefully saved by the Guru Parampara. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Lord Krishna himself, comes and performs the pastimes and show practically how the principles of Bhagavad Gita can be applied in our life. And then the 6 Goswamis, they come, the pure devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they come and they elaborate the entire philosophy. And then Srila Prabhupada comes, the pure devotee of the Lord, who comes and gives essence of all the teachings in his Bhaktivedanta purports. And then his representatives, they preached the message all over the world, and their representatives are continuing the legacy. How the pure devotees, they are changing our life. And then we see that how devotees, they bring enthusiasm in our life. We had Bhadra Purnima campaign, we had Bhagavad Gita marathon. Means if devotees were not there, simply by reading that shloka 12.13.13, would we feel enthusiastic to go on and distribute Srimad Bhagavatam? It is very difficult, because there are so many devotees who are continuously inspiring us, doing so many programs, checking us, asking us. That is why we are able to have that enthusiasm to go and distribute the books. Without devotees, there is no enthusiasm, even to do our basic devotional service. And then we see that because of the association of devotees only, we are able to apply the principles in our life. We may read in Srimad Bhagavatam that how we are not the body, we are souls. But how to apply this principle in our life? How to get the practical understanding of this? How to develop the practical understanding of amanina manadena? This happens when we are in devotee association. We learn from their personal examples. Shri Shri Radha Rasbihari Bhagwan ki jai, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshan Bhaktanuman ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitain ki jai, Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. We learn from their personal examples. They correct us where we are going wrong. Otherwise, simply by reading, we may not be able to understand how to apply. I will recite a small story for this. Once upon a time, there was a village. And in that village, it was a time of heavy drought. All the crops have gone dried. And there were 2 farmers. One was Ramu and was Shamu. So there were 2 farmers, Ramu and Shamu. So they thought that what can we do to improve our crops? Then they thought that okay, let's go to Wikipedia and see that how can we improve the crops. So they went and studied on Google, from Google Anand Swami, how we can improve our crops. So they studied what kind of manures, what kind of fertilizers, how much water we should put. So they understood it. Okay, by putting fertilizers, by putting a lot of water, my crops will become very, very healthy. So they became very happy. So immediately they went to the nearby by city and bought a lot of fertilizers and manure. They got a tanker and very daily they used to put a lot of water in their field. But after some time they saw that the crops were going down. They were like this much before, now they are this much. The yield has reduced even more. So they were very, very surprised, upset. So they thought that let us go and consult from a senior farmer. So they went to a senior farmer and consulted. Then the farmer said that, my dear Ramu and Shamu, you had put so much of water and fertilizers on your crops. Did you check that how much water and fertilizer is required based on the type of your crop? Based on the stage in which your crops are. In principle, putting water and fertilizer is okay. But how much is required? What time it is required? This can be understood in practical guidance. Similarly, we read so many scriptures. How much we have to apply, where to apply, how to apply. All these are all circumstantial, based on our level of devotional service. Based on our level of devotional service. For some devotees, when they are out into challenges, they come and become victorious. Just like if there is a forest fire and wind blows, the forest fire becomes even huge. But there are devotees who are like candles. A slight wind, the candle will extinguish. So there is a difference based on the level of devotees, the circumstances of devotees. What principles will get applied to a student may be different from what principles will be applied to a full-time devotee. May be different to what principles, how those principles would be applied in the life of a householder. All these require a practical guidance. Everything requires practical guidance. So this understanding can come only in the association of pure devotees. There is no other way. And then we see that how the devotees, they make the process of birth, death, disease and old age also glorious. If somebody dies all alone, we are not sure what kind of death he would have had. But when there were devotees present with him, when he was leaving the body, that presence of devotees is making the death glorious. The presence of devotees is making the death glorious. Because they were devotees at the time of persons leaving the body, we get some kind of surety that this person who is leaving the body is going back to Godhead. Is going to Vaikuntha. Or else he is at least getting a higher life after leaving this body. At least he would have got birth now in the family of a Vaishnava. Because there were devotees present at the time of his death. The devotees are making the process of death glorious. Even if there are new devotee who is present and he only chants Hare Krishna Mahamantra, even the presence of a new devotee makes the death glorious. What to talk about the presence of pure devotees? When somebody becomes sick, then all the devotees, they pray to the Lord by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. See, so many devotees, they chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and praying to the Lord, and see what benefit he gets. The devotees of the Lord, they are making the process of even birth so auspicious. They are teaching that how the birth should take place. They're giving all the sanskars to the child and everything. So the presence is making of devotees is making the life so glorious. And we need all kinds of association. We need all kinds of association. We need association of senior devotees. We need association of our devotees who are equal to us. We need association of devotees who are junior and newer to us. In the association of senior devotees, we get a chance to learn. We get a chance to get inspired, to grow, to apply in life. In the association of our equal devotees, we get that chance to work together, to serve together, to enjoy a devotional service. In the association of our junior devotees, we get a chance to share our experience. We share what we have learned so far. We get a chance to guide them, help them to grow in devotional service. By seeing our juniors growing in devotional service, we feel so inspired. So we need all kinds of association. And Srila Prabhupada has created this association for us in the form of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So association of devotees is so much required. I remember, I'm getting the example of lotus in my mind. Lotus, when it is in the water, when the sun comes, the sun nourishes the lotus. But same lotus, if you take out of water and put outside on the banks of the pond, and when then the sun comes, the same sun will dry up the lotus. The lotus needs association of water. The lotus needs association of water. The moment it is out from the water, its time is counted. Similarly, we have to be in the association of devotees. The activities of Krishna are very inconceivable. At times they are bewildering, and we don't know what Krishna is planning for us. They are very bewildering. We all have so many plans that we will work this way we will do this, we will do that. And suddenly Krishna comes and he says, man proposes, I disposes. He disposes everything and he has his own plan. And it is only the devotees who can help us understand the situation. Yes, in such a challenging situation, it increases our faith. Why? Because there are devotees who help us to see the situation in the right perspective. Otherwise, we will become bewildered. Some people may leave devotional service also. So, we have to be very cautious. It is the association of devotees who change our situation from lamentation to inspiration. It is devotees who change our situation from the point of lamentation to inspiration. We have so many examples in our scriptures. We see example of Dhruv Maharaj, 5-year-old kid who got so much upset when his stepmother told him that you cannot sit on the lap of your father. You have to die and take birth from my womb if you want to sit on the lap of your father. He was so much disturbed. So much disturbed. And what happened? When when he got the guidance from his mother that you go to the forest and pray to Krishna. Then he went to the forest. He got the guidance, he got the association of the pure devotee of the Lord, Narad Muni. If Narad Muni was not there, what would he have done? He would have done something from his own side to find Krishna. Would that have solved the purpose? No. It was only the Narad Muni who told him that what to do, how to do. It was only his mother who helped him understand that in this situation you go and serve the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, if he would have not met these two devotees, he would have left the house thinking that I will make my own kingdom when I will grow old. No. It was only the devotees who changed the life. We see example of Prithu Maharaj. When he was performing Ashwamedh Yagya, 99 yagyas done. The last yagya was happening and Indra stole the horse for the yagya. He was so unhappy. He was so angry. His son was bringing the horse back and Indra was again stealing. He was bringing the horse back, he was again stealing. And then it was decided that by the sages that we will do the mantra, we do the sacrifice and Indra will get burnt in the fire of sacrifice. And who came? Lord Brahma came. And it was only the instructions of Lord Brahma that helped Prithu Maharaj. Brahmaji told that, gave him the instructions. And what was the result? He followed those instructions. Immediately he forgave Indra and perform his duties nicely. Because of those instructions, by following the instructions of Brahma, what happened? The Supreme Lord blessed Prithu Maharaj. And he got more result than what he would have got by completing the 100 Ashwamedh Yagyas. Otherwise, if Brahmaji was not there, what would have happened? He would have burnt Indra in the yagya. And it would have not only affected the entire world, but Brahmaji says there that in that process, Indra would have introduced more irreligious activities. So only the instructions of the pure devotee saved him. Then we see how Prahlad Maharaj, such inconceivable thing, small boy and his father, demon, trying to kill him in so many different ways, throwing from the mountain, piercing the body of the little boy, throwing him in the water, throwing him in the fire, so inconceivable things happening. But it was the pure devotee Narad Muni. The instructions of the Narad Muni gave him all the power. All the situations where lamentation could have become dominant, all the situations changed into inspiration. Why? Because they were the involvement of pure devotees. That is why we have to be very, very cautious. By the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we have got the association of devotees. But somehow or the other, sometimes we feel lonely even in the association of devotees. Now we come to the third part of our class. Why we feel lonely when we come in the association of devotees. There are many reasons for this. Sometimes we have so many desires in our heart, so many things which are there in our heart, which we are not able to share with the devotees. Internally, we have logged ourselves, and externally we are in the association. Internally we have logged ourselves, and externally we are in the association. It becomes like a stone. Once I was bathing in Ganga and I saw one stone in Ganga. I took that stone out. So the stone was dry from outside. So the stone was wet from outside, but from within it was all dry. Why? It was so much closed within. We have compacted our hearts with so many material desires, and we are not able to share those things with the devotees. And that is why sometimes we are not able to relate with the devotees. In spite of being in such a nice association, we are not able to relate. Then sometimes our dealings with the devotees is not appropriate. Maybe little more respectful from the worldly people. And they are similarly, what we have dealt with the worldly people, our dealings are maybe little more respectful than that. Not as per Vaishnava etiquettes. So that is why we don't feel much change when we are in the association of devotees or when we are association of non-devotees. So there is no much change in that. That is why we are not able to relate with the devotees. Rupa Goswami says that 6 kinds of loving exchanges should happen between the devotees. Dadati pratigranati, guhyam akhyati pritchati, bhungte bhojateschaiva. 6 kinds of loving exchanges should happen between the devotees. Are they happening? We may be taking prasadam together, but while taking prasadam together, are we talking about Krishna or all the worldly things? We are talking only about, between the devotees, we are talking about only to improve our health and wealth? Or we are talking about Krishna? Or we are talking about how we can enhance the preaching and everything? What kind of guhyam akhyati pritchati we are doing? That is also important. Physically we may be doing exchanges, we may be taking prasadam together, we may be inquiring and asking, but what we are inquiring, that is also very important. So we have to be very, very careful. So I'll read one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, chapter 8, verse number 34. So I'll read the purport first and then the translation. So in purport, Srila Prabhupada is telling us why in the association of devotees we feel lonely. Is it there? Four 8:34. Purport? Yeah. So please hear this carefully. Generally, Prabhupada is saying, generally, when we find someone more qualified than ourselves, we become envious of him. When we find someone less qualified, we deride him. And when we find someone equal, we become very proud of our activities. These are the causes of all material tribulations. The great sage Narada therefore advised that a devotee should act perfectly. How to act perfectly? Instead of being envious of a more qualified man, one should be jolly to receive him. Instead of being oppressive to a less qualified man, one should be compassionate towards him, just to raise him to the proper standard. And when one meets an equal, instead of being proud of one's own activities before him, one should treat him as a friend. One should also have compassion for the people in general who are suffering due to forgetfulness of Krishna. These important functions will make one happy within this material world. In this translation, it is explained that how we should deal with the devotees. In the presence of the senior devotees, we should become pleased. In the presence of equal devotees, we should develop friendly relationships. In the presence of our junior devotees, we should be compassionate. And by doing this, we will never be affected by the threefold material miseries. But how we will come to this platform? We all understand this, but how we will come to this platform? There are two things that we have to do. One thing is, Vando mui savdhan mate. Our dealings should be very careful. Our dealings should be very, very careful. I give you example for this. Supposedly, if there's an electrician with 30 years of experience, you just tell him the problem and he can tell you left, right, center, what is the root cause, how to do, what is the problem in the circuit, everything. He is so expert in all the electric science. But if such a person, if he goes and very casually and carelessly works with the appliance, with the circuit, shock lagega? Lagega. The electricity shock will not see that this person was experienced or not. He has to be careful. But his experience can help him understand that he has to be careful. The other one may go, अच्छा ठीक है कर देते हैं, देखते होगी सो देखी जाएगी. His experience can help him to become careful, but he has to be careful. He has to act carefully, even if he has 30 years of experience in electrical sciences. So that is why we may have so much experience in devotional service. We have to be careful in our dealings. So how this consciousness will develop? How this consciousness will develop? The answer is given in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 13, verse number 4. 3:13:4. Bhagavatam answers everything. So just select the verses and answer is already there. Translation. It is said that persons who hear from a spiritual master with great labor and for a long time must hear from the mouths of pure devotees about the character and activities of the pure devotee. Pure devotees always think within the hearts of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, who awards his devotees liberation. So the actionable item which is given over here is that hear from a spiritual master with great labor and for a long time. In Hindi it is said, Atyant Shram Purvak. Atyant Shram Purvak, or continuously hear karna hoga. This word, great labor, hear with great labor, so miraculous. Hearing with great labor. What is the meaning of hearing with great labor? Shram Purvak hearing. Not just Shram Purvak hearing, Atyant Shram Purvak hearing. Why? Because sometimes we make mistake in this process only, in the very basic process, Shravanam. We may hear out of formality. We may hear to know something. But that is not the process of hearing. See, after spending some time in devotional service, we know the basic pastimes of Krishna. We know how Lord Ram killed Ravana. We know all these things. So we are not hearing to know. We are not hearing to judge. We are not hearing just to give a class. We are hearing to know more and more about Krishna. We know that when we hear about Krishna, Krishna becomes happy. This is the instruction of the spiritual master, that hear submissively. And simply by hearing, you will develop attachment for Krishna. Maya sakta mana partha. So we are hearing as a service to Krishna. And we have to be very careful in this. We know these things, basic philosophy we all know, but still we have to hear. And in this time of online preaching, we do so much of multitasking while hearing. A lot of multitasking is done while hearing. We may be driving our cars, we may be in the office, we may be making roti while hearing. That is good. That kind of hearing is also good. But then submissive hearing, careful hearing should also be there. Attentive hearing should also be there. That efforts should be there. Only then the things will get situated in our heart, in our head. And then only when Krishna sees that this boy is trying to understand me, let me give him the intelligence to come to me. Then only the things will come. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. Then only Krishna will give intelligence. The other kinds of casual hearing can help us to protect our consciousness while doing the worldly things. But attentive hearing is required. Till when attentive hearing is required? Till the end of our life. For a long time must hear from the mouths of pure devotees. Long time. How long? Lifelong. Lifelong we have to hear from the mouths of pure devotees. Because Krishna lives in the heart of pure devotees. Through the pure devotees, Krishna is speaking to us. And we have got such a nice opportunity to hear from Srila Prabhupada and his representatives. We read about Dhruv Maharaj, we read about Prahlad Maharaj, but we do not have lectures given by Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruv Maharaj with us. But we have lectures, audio lectures given by Srila Prabhupada, who is talking about pure devotee, a pure devotee talking about pure devotees. And this is what it is written here. It is written that for a long time hear from the mouths of pure devotees about the character and activities of pure devotees. So from Srila Prabhupada, we are hearing who is a pure devotee, we are hearing about pure devotees like Dhruv Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, and so on. So we have got this opportunity. Let's not waste this opportunity and involve in some activities, because death can come anytime. Death can come anytime. It doesn't matter whether one is healthy or wealthy, anything. Death can come anytime. So before we meet our next death, let us prepare our consciousness that we become surrendered to Krishna. This will happen only in the association of pure devotees. And that is why a sadhaka becomes happy when pure devotees comes to his life. Hare Krishna. Any questions, comments, feedbacks?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for the nice class. You shared very wonderful pastimes, and through purports you have established this point that we need to hear laboriously, and with great effort we need to apply that. I was just thinking about this incident where Indra, he chose Vishwarup to be his spiritual master, and he got great help from him. He got Narayana Kavach and he could defeat the demons. So he was very much respecting his spiritual master, but then because he saw that his spiritual master is giving favor to someone else also, then he became envious. So in our scenarios, we see that when we are getting mercy, we become very much obliged to the spiritual master or the superior. But when the superior gives favor to the other person, then we may become envious. At least I become envious. So then the attitude towards the superior changes. And that leads to something really ugly, which Indra also did. Just chopped off the head of the spiritual master. So I was just thinking, unless we have this, till we have this selfish attitude towards spiritual master or superior, that because I get so much benefit out of him, I will respect him, I will serve him, I will hear him. Till the time we are situated on that platform, then there is a chance, then we will sometime may behave like this. Because when the motive will be hindered, then our reaction will be not so conducive. So it is very much important to understand that we are here to please Krishna, to serve Krishna, and for that sake we need to be selfless. That some things may be as per me, something will be not as per me. So that's, unless we have that selfless attitude, we won't be able to become a genuine servant of the spiritual master. Thank you.
Thank you. And this selfless attitude will come. See, spiritual master, that is why spiritual master generally doesn't deal directly with all the disciples. And there he has his own, he has representatives to deal with. That is, like suppose when I be with my spiritual master, there are certain things which I am not able to understand, which may be bewildering to me also. Then in all those such cases I discuss with Chakravarti Prabhuji, that this I could not understand, this is what is disturbing me, this is what there. So he helps me to understand the right mood and activity, why Maharaj did this, why did he did this. So again, going and taking a shelter of a devotee and begging help from him will help in this. So otherwise, within ourselves we may be doing a lot of speculation. This is what practically I could understand, what I would be doing in such situations.
हरे कृष्ण। प्रभु जी बहुत सुंदर क्लास दिए। प्रभु जी मेरा प्रश्न है कि जैसे आपने बोले कि इंद्र ने महाराज पृथु का घोड़ा चुरा के ले गए थे, तो जैसे भगवत गीता में भगवान बोलते हैं कि 4 प्रकार के लोग मेरे पास आते हैं, आर्त, अर्थार्थी, ज्ञानी, जिज्ञासु, लेकिन इनका उद्देश्य अलग अलग होता है ना। तो उसी प्रकार बहुत से लोग योग, तपस्या, ध्यान बहुत करते हैं, तो उनका भी उद्देश्य अलग हो सकता है, लेकिन इंद्र को तो ऐसा कंफर्म पता नहीं रहता है कि ये मेरा ही पद छीनने वाला है, फिर उनको डिस्टर्ब करने कैसे पहुंच जाता है बिना कंफर्म हुए बिना।
भगवान भी अचिंत्य हैं, भगवान के भक्त भी अचिंत्य हैं. These are all past tense of Krishna, because he had to glorify Prithu Maharaj. He is doing this. Ultimately, this is the reason. And Indra, there Brahmaji is saying, in one of the purports, Brahmaji is saying that Indra is as good as Supreme Lord. Indra is as good as Supreme Lord. And he is helping in the pastime of the Lord. He is not a materialistic man. He is helping in the pastime. That is the only reason.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Any other question? Anything? Jagat Guru Shil Prabhupada ki jai, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Radai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.